Watching Battlecast Primetime. Humans, beware! Producer Jim Vasella breaks down the alien race. Check out the new Skrin sub-faction support powers and upgrades. Will we finally see the Eradicator Hexapod? Red Alert 3 executive producer Chris Corey faces the firing squad and follows up on Red Thursday. Does Tanya make a comeback? And we have 5 great Tiberium Wars fan matches to show you in the last Battlecast 5 before Kane's Wrath ships. Did you make the cut? Battlecast Primetime, Nachi Naitsa! You're logged in to Battlecast Primetime, and it seems like you're not the only ones. Sitting next to a very scared and confused Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman. It appears that the Soviets have hacked our show. This must have something to do with Red Thursday and the announcement of Red Alert 3.
At this very moment, APOC tanks may be rolling up to our studio, ready to crash through the set and trounce us all. Maybe we can keep them at bay by giving you all the latest info on the sequel to Red Alert 2, one of the most popular Command & Conquer titles to date. If you missed the announcement, Red Alert is back, with more live-action cinematics, new units, naval gameplay, and a complete co-op campaign. Plus, an all-new faction, the Empire of the Rising Sun. On Red Thursday, David got to sit down with executive producer Chris Corey. Let's take a look.
Here to break down the year's biggest RTS is executive producer Chris Corey. Здравствуйте, Chris. Welcome to Battlecast Primetime.
Thanks, David. Delighted to be here.
As you can see, we've recently redecorated our studio in honor of your interview in Red Alert 3.
Very nice.
As you were actually the number 2 guy on Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars, right?
That's right. I was the senior development director on CNC3.
All right. Enough with the pleasantries. It's time for you to face the firing squad.
Bring it on!
Now, Chris, there's been a ton of hype around here for Red Alert 3, and the community's been demanding this title for more than half a decade. Why now?
Well, we dipped our toe in the water with Command & Conquer 3, Tiberium Wars, and that was very successful for us. It's been 7 years since we revisited Red Alert, and you know, now's just the time.
It was actually reported in a recent survey for Command & Conquer that the fans actually say Red Alert is their most popular universe of the 3 for Command & Conquer. Why do you suppose that is?
Well, Command & Conquer is a great franchise for us. It's got Kane, it's got Tiberium, but it's pretty dark, it's gritty, it's brooding, and Red Alert is completely different. It's very light, it's humorous, it's got that popcorn feel, that Saturday matinee feel, and it's just a lot of fun.
Now, speaking of this popcorn story for Red Alert 3, can you give us a little insight on what the story is, a little synopsis?
Sure. So, you know, one of the themes that you find in all the Red Alert games is this idea of time travel and sort of the consequences of that. So in Red Alert 3, we have a desperate Soviet leadership going back in time, erasing Einstein, and then returning to the present day only to find that their efforts have spawned this new superpower on the world stage, the technology cult of the Empire of the Rising Sun.
Well, that sounds great. Now, EALA is no stranger to innovation, as we've seen with the previous games your team has brought out. What can we expect? What's the next big thing in Red Alert 3?
Well, Red Alert 3 is chock full of lots of innovations, but the big one we really should talk a little bit about is the co-op campaign.
Co-op campaign? That's kind of a first for RTS. Can you give us some more details?
Sure. Well, co-op is certainly one of those themes that you're starting to see throughout the industry these days, and it's never been done in RTS before. So in Red Alert 3, you'll be able to go online, play with one of your buddies through the story-driven part of the campaign, or if you can't find one of your buddies around, you'll be able to enlist the aid of an AI general who has a distinct personality and who will play alongside with you.
Now, what about battling on the high seas? So Navy's been something that a lot of RTS games have kind of, shied away from, or they just, it's basically blue painted ground. Is there any, what are we doing in Navy with Red Alert 3?
So Navy is huge in Red Alert 3, and it's one of those things, as you point out, that people have kind of kept at arm's distance for a while. Personally, I feel like there hasn't been a good Navy RTS since Red Alert 2, but we're going to change that with Red Alert 3. We're bringing Navy into the core of the game design, and we're pushing the gameplay off the land and into the oceans. You can do base building in the oceans, resource collection in the oceans. It's really going to switch up the gameplay a lot.
All right, now the Red Alert franchise historically, along with the Tiberian Wars series through Command & Conquer, has been known for these memorable live-action cinematics. I mean, hell, even in Yuri's Revenge, you got Yuri getting eaten by a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Who is there?
So are we going to be able to see these cinematics return in Red Alert 3?
Well, absolutely. I mean, live-action cinematics worked out very well on CNC3, and they're really a staple of the Red Alert series. So we're going to have a lot of great talent back, a lot of earnest actors chewing up the scenery, some great cinematics.
Well, there you have it. Chris Coor, you have survived the firing squad. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
That sure was a great interview, if I do say so myself. Hopefully we'll be able to get even more info out of Chris in the weeks to come.
Why do you get to do all the cool interviews? Why did you get to interview Natasha? Wait a second. Why do you do all the interviews? I'm being cheated out of my right as an anchor.
Raj, it's okay. You remember what happened last time we let you do an interview?
Yeah, that was great.
Right. Anyways, there'll be plenty more Red Alert 3 news to come as the weeks progress, but first, let's take our studio back under our control. It's time to give you the latest CNC news from the front.
Well, it's official. The street date for the PC version of Kane's Wrath is March 26th. Pre-order your copy today, and not only will you receive our bonus pre-sale DVD, you'll also get an exclusive multiplayer map when the game ships. Check out some of these cool new maps for those that pre-order the expansion. Pre-order your copy of Kane's Wrath from participating retailers and be one of the first to Battlecast your Kane's Wrath match on March 26th. All of the matches in the Battlecast 5 next month will be selected on March 26th, so play an awesome game and Battlecast your match. Kane's Wrath is just a month away.
But gamers aren't just talking about Kane's Wrath, Raj. Earlier this month at the annual Design, Innovate, Communicate, Entertain, or DICE Summit, the 11th annual Interactive Achievement Awards were held, gaming's highest honor. It is my honor to report that Command & Conquer 3 Tiberian Wars was the recipient of the Best Strategy Game of the Year award on both the PC and Xbox 360. These awards are like the Oscars of the gaming industry, and it's an honor to receive such an award. On behalf of the entire Command & Conquer team, let me say how grateful we are to receive such an award and how we hope to deliver incredible games in the years to come.
Nicholas Hansen, a Battlecast Primetime fan in Denmark, is making our content available in his own country. He's calling his show Battlecast Primetime Denmark. According to the trailer, the show will debut March 2nd and will feature Nicholas as one of the anchors. He plans on combining the best news, gameplay footage, and tips from all 3 Command & Conquer TV shows. Well, we here at ELA couldn't be more excited. To Nicholas and all the other CNC fans out there, thanks! This show couldn't exist without the support of fans like you. If you want to make a Battlecast Primetime show in your area, or if you've just got a cool Command & Conquer TV story to share, send a letter to bcpt@ea.com. If we get enough responses, we'll make time in our next show for a new fan segment. Be sure to check out the Battlecast Primetime Denmark trailer on YouTube, and Nicholas, if you're watching, shoot us an email so we can help you with your project.
Last month, artwork for a special edition of Kane's Wrath leaked onto our official forums. That's right, Command & Conquer 3 had the Kane edition, and now we bring you the special edition artwork for Kane's Wrath Foundries. Unfortunately, our crack team of balance testers deemed this expansion pack just too powerful, what with so many build queues and all. What's more, there's some concern that the ESRB and USK might give any title featuring this guy an AO rating by default. Raj, is there something you want to tell us?
Nope. Other than that the world just isn't ready for my RTS debut. Yet. One thing the world is ready for, though, is a new format for Battlecast Primetime. If you're watching this episode at commandandconquer.com or on iTunes, rest assured that you'll get the full Battlecast Primetime that you know and love. But if you're watching this on GameTrailers.com, Xbox Live Marketplace, YouTube, or any other site, you'll notice we've shortened the show to a more manageable length. From now on, our featured match with commentary from developers Greg Black and Jason Bender will only be seen on the full episode of Battlecast Primetime on CommandandConquer.com and iTunes.
With the first season of the CNC League over, we've reopened the floodgates to bring you the best matches online. It's time for the Battlecast 5. Anger Problem Scrin versus Fincher GDI on Barstow Badlands. Fincher creeps to the bridge with his war factory and then places an op center and 2 refineries under the bridge. Expect to see that move on a future episode of Command School. With even more tricks up his sleeve, Fincher sends an engineer APC at Anger's drone platform. Fincher grabs the platform and sells it immediately. Cha-ching! Angered about having no build queue, and since his name is Anger Problem, Anger retaliates with 2 assimilators which grab Fincher's Conyard and War Factory. Payback's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Fincher's Predators take out the Conyard, but Anger's shiny new War Factory spits out a few Predators of its own and takes out the barracks. Anger sells the War Factory and amasses Devourers, while Fincher's down to just a few Predators, rocket squads, and the almighty Harvesters? As we go to the final push. Fincher, knowing he'll need an anti-infantry unit to win, charges in with his Harvesters. That's right, the Rockets and Predators take out the portal, while the Harvesters' miniguns wipe out the Buzzers and Disintegrators. Brilliant! Down to just a nerve center, Anger drops a desperation lightning spike as the Harvesters square off. Who will win? The stalemate lasts long enough for Anger to deploy a second spike. That nerve center is untouchable! Fincher has no choice but to throw in the towel. 4.
I am a Dodger Nod versus Bodom Scrin on Tournament Arena. Both sides go blue, expanding to the blue fields early. Dodger techs up first and sends Avatars and Venoms at Bodom's middle field, but Bodom's got a backup plan. He sends a Mastermind deep behind enemy lines to capture a Tiberium research facility, where he drops a nerve center, calls in a mothership, and sells both buildings. The mothership fires, but Dodger lives up to his name as he dodges a bullet by selling off all of his nearby structures to prevent the catalyst. Brilliant! The mothership refuses to go down, and the Mastermind is still alive. The Mastermind now goes for the Conyard as the mothership repositions. Bodom, enjoying his new living space inside Dodger's base, decides to build some storm columns and power plants. Bodom fires the mothership again, but this time it doesn't take anything out, and his Mastermind is killed before Bodom can sell the Conyard. Fast forward, Dodger's taken out Bodom's drone platform, and without a gravity stabilizer, he can't queue another. Despite having no build queue, Bodom has an extractor, warp sphere, and technology assembler to assemble tripods. The tripods almost wipe out Dodger, leaving him in the corner with just a War Factory and refinery. But Nod's War Factories can build MCVs, which Dodger does. Dodger rebuilds and masses an army of laser scorpions. Mark the W for Dodger as Bodom goes down swinging in Dodger's last-minute save. Now, if only the real Dodgers could play this well.
A free-for-all between Donkey, Scrin, Maudie, Nod, and Bang Bang You're Dead, Nod on Triple Threat. Bang attempts a stealth flame tank rush, but Maudie's Venom spot it a mile away as his avatars blow up the smithereens. Meanwhile, Donkey sent tripods, seekers, and disintegrators at Bang. Bang sees the apparent lack of anti-infantry and cranks out fanatics faster than M&Ms. Donkey calls in the swarm and mows them down. Maudie, being left alone, exploits the situation and sends laser buggies with EMPs and laser venoms at Donkey's empty base. Donkey has no choice but to call off the attack. The Nod players band together in brotherly love against Donkey as the conflict moves midfield. Maudie EMPs the tripods and sends in his avatars, covering their tracks with a mine drop. All sides sound the retreat. His field's dry, Donkey sends all 6 Harvesters begging on Maudie's doorstep, where they are welcomed with open arms. Open avatar arms, that is. Maudie finishes off Donkey and saves his support powers for Bang. Friends no more, Maudie's Tiberium Vapor Bomb takes out Bang's airfield and damages his avatars. Both remaining players pack up their MCVs and try to take Donkey's old tip field, unaware of one another's presence. Maudie cleans up Bang's defending avatars and sends in some engineers to recover the husks as the game shifts from Command and Conquer to Search and Destroy. Bang Bang, he's dead. Maudie gets the win.
2.
Crunkalicious Nod versus Alternative Scrin on Small Town, USA. Both players creep sideways to their expansion field, while Alternative Scrin sends Seekers and a lightning spike at Crunk's Harvesters. Seeing this move a mile away, Crunk gives him the black hand. Alternative sends in a Mastermind and uses the trademark capture and sell technique on a tech lab, and actually lives to tell the tale. He runs in for another attack with a wave of shock troopers and gunwalkers, but a well-placed Tiberium vapor bomb wipes him out. Nod follows up with a catalyst missile on Alt's expansion. Alternative cues another mastermind, this time grabbing a refinery right as a harvester docks. He cashes in on all those credits, adding insult to injury by selling it off when he's done. But his mastermind isn't done. He mind controls an avatar and micros it to take out 3 others. Then he teleports in some assimilators to recover the Hulk before finally being snuffed out. Not bad for a single mastermind. A Tiberium vapor bomb takes out Alternative's portals and avatars as a Black Hand move in to finish the job. But wait, what's this? Another mastermind emerges, capping a Nod tech lab and dropping a signal transmitter. That's right, kids. He calls in a mothership and it fires. Luckily, Krunk is spread out and the catalyst cannon can't wipe out the expansion. Krunkalicious pulls off a delicious win.
1.
A 2v2 matchup between GameReplays.org staffers Subby and I Am Lovin' and community members Andre and Spec on Red Zone Rampage. Everyone's GDI except Subby, who shows the Brotherhood some respect. Lovin scouts Andre's base using the dig-in ability to keep his scouts alive. He follows it up with 2 APC engineers. The first grabs Andre's War Factory and the second targets Spec's Conyard and succeeds in what has to be the most insulting move of the game. Spec, searching for his glasses and Conyard, was just too distracted with an APC engineer rush of his own. Spec, trotting around first with Subby, is shot down by an anti-infantry defense, acting like an angry parent. Subby retaliates and has the chance to score an early victory. Unfortunately, Subby's decided to go with a crane build order approach and has left him strapped for early game credits, so he doesn't have enough tanks to finish off the job. Spec survives and gets his head back in the game. Meanwhile, Andre's rebuilt his war factory and throws in 2 more for good measure. Andre's tanks are breaking Lovin's heart, but Subby drops an obelisk to help him out just in time. And if that wasn't enough, he even throws in a disruption tower for good measure. What a mensch! Subby uses a catalyst missile on 3 of Andre's refineries, immediately following by a Tiberium vapor bomb, taking out an airfield and tech center. Juggernauts and Sonic Emitters face off in high-tech stalemate, but due to the disruption tower, the Juggernauts can't target any of Lovin's base. If he wasn't before, he's sure loving Subby now. Spec's Firehawks bomb a tech center, but Subby retaliates and executes Operation Swift Brutality, which takes Spec completely out of the game. Andre and Lovin are still in a stalemate, but with Spec gone, Subby wipes out the last Juggernauts. As the smoke clears, the Game Replay staffers come out victorious.
The 5, brought to you by Burnout Paradise. Team up and take down Paradise together. Available now on the PS3 and Xbox 360.
And now you see why we call out the GameReplays.org tip of the week each time in Command School. When we return, APOC breaks down patch 110 and the CNC League Season 2. Plus, producer Jim Vasella finally unmasks the elusive Eradicator Hexapod. Don't go away, all this and more when Battlecast Primetime continues on Command & Conquer TV. Welcome back to Battlecast Primetime. I'm David Silverman. And in the community corner, weighing in at 175 pounds of sheer message board muscle, is Aaron APOC Kaufman with all the news by the fans, for the fans.
What's up, all you Command & Conquerors? This is APOC, your official community manager, here to break down the latest CNC community news that you care about. Red Alert is back! Yes, the secret is finally out. We've just announced this highly anticipated sequel to one of your favorite Command & Conquer games ever. And if you can't wait to get your hands on this red-hot title, then be sure to pick up a copy of Kane's Wrath on March 26. Anyone who purchases Kane's Wrath will get a beta key for Red Alert 3. That's right, these keys must be activated online, and it's a first come, first served. So be sure to pick up your copy of Kane's Wrath on March 26 to guarantee your spot in the Red Alert 3 beta test. For more information, check out our beta FAQ at commandandconquer.com. What better way to get ready for Red Alert 3 than watching all the old FMVs? That's right, CNCmovies.com is back, and this one is here to stay. Check it out. After watching Battlecast Primetime, of course. While Red Alert 3 is still months away, Kane's Wrath ships in just 3 weeks. As we ramp up to our launch, be sure to check out commandandconquer.com every Thursday for Tacitus Thursdays. We'll be bringing you community exclusives, trailers, screenshots, podcasts every Thursday from now till launch. And once a week, I'll also be bringing you in-depth strategy breakdowns on a new Kane's Wrath unit. These strats come straight from the dev team. So keep watching or get owned on March 26. But there's still plenty of Tiberium Wars action going on, including the exciting Grand Championship finale of our CNC League Season 1, featuring Germany's finest, Mr. Yuri, and SoCal's favorite son, Sean Teeter. I'm expecting GDI vs. Scrin, complete with enough spam to feed the entire dev team for a month. Check out the match later in the show. I can think of 5,000 great reasons to watch. If you didn't make it into the tournament this time around, you'll get another shot in March when we kick off CNC League Season 2. We'll be adding 10 more countries, including the Netherlands, who are home to some of the fiercest CNC players around. Gentlemen, let the games begin! And finally, it's not too late to have your opinion heard on Balance Patch 110. Check out the proposed change list on my latest blog and add your 2 cents on our official message boards. You've been ordered. And remember, check out our official website at commandandconquer.com for all the juicy Red Alert 3, Kane's Wrath, and Tiberium Wars gossip you can handle. Until then, I'm Aaron A. Pock Kaufman, reminding you, every day is Community Day.
Thanks, Aaron. There's no Ask a Dev this month, but never fear, Amir will return. Start posting Red Alert 3 questions for Mr. Rao, and remember, RA3 is a long way from release, so be sure your question won't get Amir fired for answering it.
On March 26th, you'll be able to experience the Scrin all on your own. In the meantime, here to show us the Scrin's new powers and upgrades in Kane's Wrath is producer Jim Vasella. Jim?
Thanks, David. We're here on Unsound Investment, one of our new 4-player maps in Kane's Wrath, ready to show you some of our new Scrin powers and upgrades. Let's get right into it. First on the list is Ichor Seed. This is actually a power that allows the Scrin to create a mini Tiberium field anywhere on the map. Great to boost your resources in both the early and late game. Next on the list is one of our new upgrades. These are the Shard Launchers. This actually upgrades your Seekers and defensive platforms to shoot the actual Tiberium shards themselves to do some extra damage. Another upgrade we have for some of those early game units are attenuated force fields. These are actually force fields for your Seekers and Gunwalkers. Gives them a little more armor when fighting those Titans, Predator tanks, and Scorpion tanks. Another new power we have is Infestation. This is a pretty cool power. It's actually a harassment tool. You cast it on an enemy Tiberium field, and then any units in that field start taking damage over time. So enemy harvesters and units will start taking slow damage, and if they're not paying attention, they might just explode. And finally, one of our new late game Scrin powers is the Overlord's Wrath. You may have seen this in some of our trailers. This actually launches a giant Tiberium meteor down from space to do incredible damage against enemy structures and units. Let's now take a look at one of our new sub-factions, Reaper 17. We have a few exclusive upgrades on the Reaper side. First off are the blue Tiberium shards. This upgrades all your Tiberium firing units with the blue shards. So your Shard Walkers, your Ravagers, and also your upgraded Seekers and defensive platforms get those blue shards to do way more damage. Another exclusive upgrade are the conversion reserves. Reaper 17 is all about using those that conversion beam with the Reaper tripods and the Devourer tanks. This upgrade allows them to maintain that green laser for much longer, allowing more damage over time. And finally, an exclusive power on the Reaper side are shock pods. This allows you to summon in several veteran squads of shock troopers to flank your enemy anywhere on the map. Let's now take a look at the unique weapons on Traveler 59. So Traveler 59 is all about manipulating speed to their advantage. The power we have for this is Temporal Wormhole. This allows them to create a shield anywhere on the map that slows down enemy units inside and also slows down their firing speed, so greatly crippling those enemy units. Upgrades we have on the Traveler side, first off is Advanced Articulators. This makes all Traveler 59 infantry move at about double the speed. It makes them a very focused hit and run faction, makes the Ravagers actually the fastest unit in the game. Second, we actually have Traveler Engines. This upgrades your Devastator warships and planetary assault carriers with upgraded speed. This means they can get into the fight much faster than the other Skrin factions and also make a hasty retreat when you have to. And finally, all Skrin sides receive one of our new unique structures, the Warp Chasm. This structure acts as a secondary war factory and also allows you to summon and create that Eradicator Hexapod epic unit that you may have seen in some of our trailers. Now, like all of our epic units, the Eradicator can be garrisoned with different infantry, including actually the Mastermind and Prodigy, which actually gives it its own teleport ability. The Eradicator also comes with its own primary weapon, which shoots giant plasma discs at the enemy. And if it kills enemies within its radius, it can actually transform those units into extra resources. A great unit, especially for the late game. Stay tuned for more details in upcoming Battlecast Primetime episodes. Until then, back to you, David.
While those powers are cool, as a member of Nod's inner circle, appointed by Kane himself, my allegiance goes unquestioned. You can convert though, Raj, considering Kane didn't invite you into the Brotherhood.
Well, I just may, and then you'll see my true power. Foundries assemble!
Yeah. Well, the news has been broken. After 7 years, Red Alert returns with a third installment. Pick up the latest copy of PC Gamer in the United States or PC Games in Germany or any other leading magazine around the world for an in-depth look. We'll have more Red Alert 3 info for you in the coming months, so stay tuned to Battlecast Primetime for the latest on this colossal title. Stay tuned to the premiere of our main event section. This debut will be a doozy. We'll bring you exclusive coverage of the CNC League Finals. Who gets to be the one to take home the check for $5,000 and get crowned Command & Conquer 3 champion? All this and more when Battlecast Primetime continues on Command & Conquer TV.
Do you think that I did not know about your plans involving mobile phones? You will not be safe. Your people will not be safe.
Tonight, on the main event, the exciting conclusion to the inaugural CNC League. Many players fought for a spot in the finals, but only 2 made it, and only one of those will be crowned champion. Don't go anywhere, it's time for the main event.
Welcome to our new featured match segment, The Main Event. Raj, we even let you do the show open. Great work. In our inaugural event, we have some incredible action for you. The CNC League's first season just came to an end, and we're here to bring you the final match as Relativity and Mr. Yuri fight it out for the top prize of $5,000 and limitless bragging rights. To kick off the CNC Super Bowl, let's meet the champions that made it to the CNC League final match. It's time for tonight's edition of Through the Eyes. Sean Relativity Teeter hails from San Diego, California, here in the United States. We first met Sean at the World Cyber Games Pacific Regional Finals here in Southern California, when his online ID was seekerspam.exe. He won that event and went on to represent America in the World Cyber Games Grand Finals. He was knocked out early on by Brasia from Switzerland, who ironically was knocked out early on himself in our own CNC League tournament. Somehow we knew Sean would make a comeback. Although a player can only earn one of the 32 spots per season in our tournament, Sean has 4 online IDs in the top 10, including 01, Relativity, and scorpspammer.exe. Sean uses a very unique Dvorak keyboard when he plays Command & Conquer 3, stating, quote, "The reorganization of the keys allow me to maximize my hotkeys when I'm spamming Predator tanks." Sean recently helped the Kane's Wrath development team help balance test the game, and he's a force to be reckoned with on any faction. Sean's a bona fide gaming star. He was featured on Spike TV as one of America's top Command & Conquer players, so let's see if he can reclaim his fame in the CNC3 ladder season. From one San Diego man to another, good luck, Sean.
His opponent, Daniel Mr. Yuri Stacker, hails from Germany. Mr. Yuri was born May 31st, 1986 in Essen, Germany. This October, Daniel will start studying economics, but he's been studying CNC since Red Alert 2, which he described as fast, fluid, and fun multiplayer. Over the years, he's made many friends online, and he says it's the great people he plays with that keep drawing him back. His main faction has been Nod for most of his career, but he switched to GDI in the middle of the CNC League tournament when he realized they were, quote, the stronger faction. We know you're a diehard CNC fan because of the community, so on behalf of all your CNC friends, good luck, Daniel.
Before we move on, let's extend a warm welcome to CNC developers Greg Black and Jason Bender, who will be providing commentary for tonight's match. Greg, Jason, welcome to the main event.
Thanks for having us.
Great to be back.
Greg, tell us a little bit about the tournament map they'll be playing on today in your Battleground Reconnaissance.
Tournament Arena is a two-player ranked map with a big open space, an arena, if you will. Players start on a green field with access to a second nearby green field and an isolated blue field protected by two bunkers. The center of the map has no choke points, great for epic push and pull tank battles. The north and south edges each hold a tip spike, which becomes increasingly more valuable as those starting fields dry up. Like all tournament maps, the starting areas are symmetrical.
We've got the makings of a great match tonight, so it's time to put our reputations on the line in the pick of the match. Greg, Jason, what say you?
You know, I love Red Alert 2, so I'm going to have to go for Mr. Yuri. His command is my wish.
Well, if we're talking Red Alert, I'm going with Einstein. That's relativity.
Raj Joshi, where do you stand?
Say it's a tough choice, but I'm going to have to go with Mr. Yuri's Revenge.
All right, bad pun it is. Well, I'm going to go with San Diego native, their favorite son, Sean Teeter. He will take it all. Mark my words. That's it. Our bets are in. The tables are closed. Gentlemen, it's go time. Tonight's matchup is between Relativity and Mr. Yuri on Tournament Arena.
Today we're going to go with the GDI mirror match. Relativity on the bottom right, Mr. Yuri on the upper left. They're playing for real cash today, I hear.
That's right, they're playing for 5,000 United States dollars. That buys a lot of computers, a lot of EA games, maybe some grills for their teeth and some gold chains, you know, whatever they want.
Cash monies. It looks like Relativity is getting started off by selling some base defenses, getting those infantry as scouts.
Yeah, this is Tournament Arena. It's real small. You know, everybody's trying to get out there and find out what the other guy's doing, and they got to react to it quick, quick, quick.
So Yuri, on the other hand, is famous for an APC rush. Is that what we're going to expect?
Yeah, there's a war factory with some engineers next to it. What the hell do you think he's doing, Jason?
It looks like that engineer's just hanging out and having a cigarette. But wait, APC, there he goes. He jumped in. That's fast micro. We didn't even see him move in. It just vacuumed him right up. Relativity's not going to have any of that.
Yeah, he's got pit bulls all over the battlefield. He saw this coming from a mile away. That's the problem when your reputation precedes you. You can't pull crap like this. And there he goes, that APC, boom, gone.
This one almost made it. Looks like he forced Relativity to sell off that refinery. But check it out. For some reason, he left his surveyor there.
Yeah, that's odd. Most people usually sell the surveyor immediately.
Do you think he left that there on purpose, or was he just too busy to sell it?
Who knows? Maybe, maybe he was too busy.
No one knows what the shadow knows.
It's quantum physics more than relativity, really.
Meanwhile, on the left we have 4 harvesters on the blue field for Mr. Yuri. But it looks like we got the same thing over here on the right, but something else is going on in the green field. 4 more harvesters on the green field for Relativity.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see this coming a mile away. These guys are getting their economy set up for this, the giant Predator tank battle. We've got rocket guys, we've got Predator tanks, we've got infantry running around, all sorts of stuff blowing up. And, this is looking pretty good for Mr. Yuri right now. He seems to have the upper hand, local power superiority.
Relativity spent all of his money building up those extra refineries. It's going to pay off in the long run if he can survive this tank rush. Mr. Yuri brought the tanks early at the expense of Mortiberium.
Now, the interesting thing is Mr. Yuri not being quite as aggressive as I would have expected. He's actually running away from those infantry rather than just trying to run over them.
Yeah, you'd think your best defense as a Predator is to run over those missile guys. He's got enough Predators to survive.
But here's another interesting thing. It looks like Relativity is pulling a play out of Yuri's playbook. He's got the APC with the engineers.
Look at this. Chinese fire drill. APC, engineer jumps out, forces the pack up. Engineer jumps right back into the APC, heads for the power plant. He forced him to sell the refinery. He forced him to sell the power plant. He grabbed the tech building, got the TIB spike, got the Predators out of his base.
And somehow he is actually holding off this giant army that Yuri's sent. That's just a ton of rocket guys, and I'm not seeing much from Yuri in the way of anti-infantry.
I am surprised Yuri did not press the initiative while he had it. That's a big improvement for Relativity. He went from having a bunch of tanks in his base to coming back strong. Now he's got the tanks, he's got the rockets, and it looks like the game's going really fast now, but it's really just that their micro is so awesome, it's just making it look fast.
Yeah, and here comes some sonic emitters. That's going to force the battle to pull back a little bit, but it is not looking good for Yuri right now. How do you hold up against that many rocket guys and predators? I don't know, build something other than other rocket guys and predators, maybe.
Send your APC back at the other guy's base is really his only answer, but doesn't have time.
Oh, this has got to be game over. I don't see how anybody, even Yuri himself, is going to come back from this one.
Maybe you should mind control those predators.
Ah, that would be good, except I don't think that's this game. And yep, there it goes. GG as the last of Yuri's buildings go down in a barrage of rockets and cannon fire.
Well, maybe they can play again and Yuri will get his revenge.
Oh, very good. What do you think Relativity's going to spend that money on?
I would have to go with either a whole lot of EA product or, maybe a nice shiny new computer.
Maybe he could send like 10-20% of it to his favorite Battlecast Primetime commentators?
Yeah, we may have to look at another match of his if that's the case.
Oh, yes. Maybe rig another. Sorry.
Great game, action-packed. Let's go right to the unit stats. I was mentioning earlier that it looked like the tank rush by Mr. Yuri far outstripped Relativity's units on the field. But if you look at the stats, they're really quite close. It's just that Mr. Yuri had all of his tanks right packed together in the front of Relativity's base while Relativity was going around with the APCs.
Yeah, the delta between these two graphs is really quite small, and I think it really just came down to who microed better and who brought the best counters.
So looking at that, let's take a look at the structures. You can see early on that Relativity spikes up in economy, but Mr. Yuri keeps him down while he's building up his tanks.
Again, this wasn't a huge macro game. They're very neck and neck on the structures tab. It really came down to that big battle and that one rush.
Yeah, and the resources tab confirms it. They don't diverge until about the 5-minute mark, where Mr. Yuri builds a second war factory and Relativity keeps the economy growing.
Now, on the final stats page, I think this is really the most telling thing about this battle. Mr. Yuri, favorite unit, the Predator tank, favorite of mine as well. Relativity, favorite unit, the Missile Squad. And obviously, Missile Squads versus Predator tanks, the Missile Squad's going to win the day.
Rock, paper, scissors, you know how it is.
We saw some excellent strategies from the best players currently playing CNC. They weren't our league finalists for nothing. So whose great maneuvering earns our play of the game?
The play of the game is pretty epic, so let me walk you through it. Relativity sends an APC with an engineer towards Mr. Yuri's base. Mr. Yuri sees it coming, sells off a refinery to get the rifle squad to take out the engineer. The engineer deploys, forces Mr. Yuri's MCV to pack up, sends the engineer back in the APC, keeps on rolling. Deploys the engineer again, forcing the sell-off of the power plant, but the engineer eventually gets into the tech center, and he gets to sell it off. That's 4 buildings, 1 engineer.
Very impressive maneuver. Almost as impressive as you reciting that whole thing.
Pretty rough.
The play of the match, brought to you by EA Mobile. The war for Tiberium is waging on your mobile phone. Available now from your carrier.
The fight is over and the winner has been crowned. Congrats to Sean Relativity Teeter for winning the first season of CNC League. Oh yeah, and good job on the $5,000. Hopefully you'll take $30 of that to buy Kane's Wrath. Also, congratulations to Greg Black and Jason Bender for being all-around cool commentators. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show.
Our pleasure. Looking forward to the next match.
We'll see you then.
Come back next month when new players enter the ring in the main event. And don't forget to Battlecast your Kane's Wrath match on March 26th for a shot to be featured here on Battlecast Primetime. For Raj Joshi, I'm David Silverman, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
I had Tiger Rush. Rock and roll, baby. 20 pages written.